Are you ready for a transformative journey? Today we're diving deep into 11 crucial elements that intelligent people silently remove from their existence. This isn't just another video. This is your invitation to join us on a profound exploration of personal growth and self-mastery. I encourage you to engage actively with each concept we'll uncover together. Share your perspectives in the comments below, and most importantly, stay with us until the very end. What awaits you is a complete shift in how you approach your daily life. The insights we're about to reveal have the power to fundamentally transform your understanding of yourself and the world around you. These next moments represent more than just watching a video. They're your opportunity to pause, to reflect deeply, and to gain clarity about who you truly are beneath the noise and distractions of modern life. The wisdom we're sharing isn't theoretical, it's practical, battle-tested, and proven to create lasting change in those who apply it. So take a deep breath, open your mind, and let's begin this journey together. Point 1. Stop explaining yourself to those who hurt you. When someone has caused you pain, there's a powerful truth you need to understand. You owe them absolutely nothing. Not an explanation, not a justification, not a single word about your decisions. Smart people recognize that when dealing with individuals who have wounded them, silence becomes their greatest strength. There's no need to complain endlessly about what happened. No need to argue your case or defend your position. No need whatsoever to confront them about their behavior or seek some form of acknowledgement from them. Think about it for a moment. If someone has made choices that disrespected you, betrayed your trust, or caused you genuine emotional harm, even if this person was once someone you considered a close friend or trusted companion, the wisest path forward is simply to move on. Move on without seeking those explanations you think you need. Move on without demanding the closure you believe you deserve. The ancient Stoics understood this profoundly. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the importance of maintaining your inner peace, regardless of others' actions. When you remain calm, composed, and rational, focusing entirely on your own growth and development, you reclaim your power. Now here's something most people don't realize. There may come a time, perhaps months or even years from now, when that very person who hurt you will find themselves in need. They might reach out, seeking your support, your help, or your forgiveness. In that moment, you have every right to simply say no. One word, clear, final, complete. You don't owe them more than that. If you feel compelled to explain your reasons, that's your choice. But understand that it's optional, not obligatory. If this individual failed to demonstrate character, integrity, or basic human decency when it mattered, if they broke the sacred trust you placed in them, then you are under absolutely no obligation to extend your hand when they fall. This isn't about being cruel or vindictive. It's about recognizing your worth and protecting your peace. Here's the key that separates intelligent people from the rest. They don't engage in messy conflicts. They don't create drama. They don't wage wars of words or revenge. Instead, they choose the path of quiet removal. They understand that the best course of action is to silently and strategically remove that toxic person from their life, trusting that time itself will reveal the consequences of everyone's actions. Your focus should remain on one thing and one thing only: taking impeccable care of yourself, nurturing your own growth, building your own future. Let time and the universe handle the rest. When we grant ourselves permission to move forward without feeling the need to explain, justify or defend our choices to those who've hurt us, we demonstrate something powerful. We show deep respect for ourselves and our boundaries. We acknowledge our inherent worth. Remember this fundamental truth. You are not obligated to maintain relationships with people who harm you, diminish you, or fail to see your value. Every single person deserves to be treated with respect, dignity, and genuine appreciation for who they authentically are. By choosing to quietly eliminate those who have wounded you from your circle, you're making one of the bravest decisions possible for your emotional health and personal evolution. You're allowing yourself to move toward a more authentic, fulfilling, and peaceful existence. This is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Point 2. Eliminate unnecessary goals. Life will present you with countless moments where you must make crucial decisions about your path forward. There will be times when you suddenly realize with absolute clarity the importance of making specific choices, of acting in particular ways, or of staying true to your authentic path regardless of external pressures. And sometimes, in order to honor what truly matters, you'll need to abandon certain goals entirely. Let me be clear. This isn't about giving up or lacking commitment. This is about wisdom. This is about recognizing that not every goal you once set still serves you. Not every ambition you once held still aligns with your essence. You might need to release certain objectives to prioritize the path that resonates most deeply with who you become, not who you once thought you should be. This is completely normal. In fact, it's a sign of maturity and self-awareness. We don't always achieve everything we plan. Life doesn't work that way. And honestly, that's not only okay, it's often exactly what we need. At times, we must consciously give up certain pursuits in favor of others that matter more. We must make trade-offs. We must choose what to keep and what to release. But here's where smart people distinguish themselves. They eliminate these unnecessary goals silently, quietly, without fanfare, without broadcasting their every move to the entire world. They don't announce on social media that they're pivoting. They don't seek validation or approval for their decisions. They don't leave clues, hints, or loose information that could reveal their strategy to competitors, critics, or well-meaning but misguided advisors. Think of it like playing chess. A skilled player doesn't announce their strategy. They don't telegraph their next moves. They keep their plans close, protected, strategic. The same principle applies to your life goals. Be intelligent in this process. Remove less important objectives gradually. Make changes quietly. Adjust your course discreetly. As the cards are laid out on the table of life, proceed with thoughtful discretion. Protect your plans like the precious resources they are. Allow your decisions to be guided by authenticity, by what feels right in your bones, not by others' expectations or society's definitions of success. Seek the path most aligned with your true nature, your values, your vision for your life. When you eliminate unnecessary goals quietly, you create space, mental clarity, and energy for what truly matters. This is how intelligent people navigate the complexity of modern life. Point 3. Stop sharing intimate relationship details. Whether we're talking about friendship or romance, there's a sacred boundary that wise people never cross. They never share intimate details of their relationships with others. They never vent publicly or privately about what went wrong, who did what, or why things ended. Let me explain why this matters so profoundly. The intimacy you shared with another person, the private moments, The vulnerable conversations, the personal struggles, these belong exclusively to you and that other person. No one else has a right to know these details. No one else needs to understand the intricacies of what happened between you. Think about it. Nobody has any legitimate right to know about the fights you had, the terrible situations you navigated, or the painful moments you endured together. When you share these private matters, you're not just telling a story. You're potentially creating gossip, inviting judgment, and making an already difficult situation infinitely more complicated. Information spreads. Stories get distorted. People take sides. Drama multiplies. And in the end, everyone loses. If you feel an overwhelming urge to talk about what happened, here's what intelligent people do. They have a conversation with themselves. They reflect privately on the situation. They journal. They meditate. They process their emotions internally or with a professional therapist who's bound by confidentiality. Here's an important insight. When you feel that burning need to tell everyone what happened, it often indicates that you have unhealed wounds still festering inside you. It suggests that you haven't fully processed the situation. It reveals that you're seeking validation, sympathy, or vindication from external sources rather than finding peace within yourself. Therefore, regardless of how justified you might feel, regardless of how wronged you might have been, the appropriate action is always to analyze these emotions and behaviors quietly, process them in silence, work through them in private. If you have a problematic relationship in your life, one that needs to end or has already ended, it's crucial to remove it without broadcasting the news to everyone in your circle. Keep these matters between you and the person involved. Handle the issues internally with maturity and discretion. This approach aids tremendously in the acceptance and healing process. It preserves the privacy and dignity of all parties involved. It protects your own emotional well-being, and it demonstrates wisdom, maturity, and true strength. Smart people understand that silence about relationship issues isn't weakness. It's power. It's respect. It's the mark of someone who values their own peace more than public validation. Point 4. Control your voice. During tension. During periods of intense tension, stress, or conflict, there's a critical skill that separates emotionally intelligent people from everyone else. The ability to control their voice and their reactions. Avoid raising your voice in front of others. Avoid displaying excessive frustration, anger, or emotional volatility publicly. When you feel that surge of upset feelings rising inside you, threatening to burst out, here's what you do. Redirect Transform channel. Take that powerful emotional energy and redirect it toward actions that yield beneficial results. Use that intensity as fuel. Use it as a driving force to advance your life goals. Use it to train your body to handle stress more effectively. Use it to push yourself in your workout. Use it to tackle that challenging project you've been avoiding. The key is transformation, not suppression. You're not bottling up your emotions unhealthily. You're consciously choosing to express them in productive ways. Contain your emotional reactions in the moment. Reflect on them later. Analyze where they came from. Understand what triggered them. Then redirect that accumulated energy into something that strengthens you, improves you, or moves your life forward. However, and this is crucial, proceed with great caution and discretion. When you lose control of your emotions publicly, especially during tense moments, you expose vulnerabilities that others can exploit. You reveal weaknesses in your armor. You give ammunition to those who might wish to use your reactions against you. Your goal should be to dissipate tension discreetly, resolve issues calmly, fulfill your responsibilities steadily. Use reasoning and logic as your greatest allies. Don't broadcast your difficulties. Don't announce to the world that you're struggling, overwhelmed, or barely hanging on. Instead, cultivate a different approach. Value what you already have. Value who is already in your life. Practice genuine gratitude for the good that exists even in difficult moments. Find ways to relieve emotional pressure quietly. Seek internal balance through meditation, exercise, nature, or whatever practices restore your center. Develop healthier approaches to facing challenges. Build your emotional resilience in private. When you master this skill, you become virtually unshakable. People around you might be losing their minds, screaming, creating drama, but you remain calm, composed, strategic. This is the mark of true strength. This is what intelligent people cultivate. Before we continue to the next point, if you've made it this far in the video, I want to acknowledge your commitment to personal growth. Leave a comment below to show that you're serious about creating positive change in your life. Hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Your engagement helps us reach more people who need these insights. Now let's continue with the fifth point. Point 5. Stop judging and gossiping about others. Here's a powerful principle that most people completely miss. Avoid sharing your judgments with others about anyone. In fact, take it further. Don't even harbor those judgments in your consciousness. Stop letting negative opinions about other people rent space in your mind. Think carefully about this. What image are you projecting when you speak ill of someone? What does it say about you when you choose to use your words to tear others down? Imagine this scenario. You're in a conversation that could be interesting, enriching, intellectually stimulating. You could share ideas, insights, experiences that uplift everyone. But instead, you choose to spoil the atmosphere by venting your negativity about some person who isn't even present to defend themselves. Please don't do that. Don't go around declaring who you like and who you dislike. Don't announce your preferences and prejudices to everyone who'll listen. Learn the art of diplomacy. If you don't like someone, and let's be honest, not everyone will resonate with you, you have options. You can distance yourself from them gracefully. You can maintain a tolerable coexistence when necessary. You can act intelligently rather than emotionally. If there's a genuine problem with that person, something that affects your work, your shared space, or your mutual interests, then address it directly. Talk to them. Engage in authentic dialogue. Seek consensus. Find solutions. But those opinions and judgments you carry about others, those need to be immediately discarded. Here's the principle I mentioned earlier, and it bears repeating. No matter if you like someone or dislike them, always act diplomatically. Show yourself capable of adapting to different environments. Demonstrate your ability to change, to flex, to interact effectively, regardless of personal differences with other people. This doesn't mean being fake or dishonest. It means being mature, professional, and emotionally intelligent. When you maintain a respectful and empathetic posture in all your interactions, you contribute to something larger than yourself. You create a more harmonious environment. You build healthier relationships. You elevate the quality of your social and professional life. Smart people understand that gossip and judgment are poison. They're poison to relationships. They're poison to your reputation. They're poison to your own mental state. When you eliminate these toxic patterns from your life, you create space for genuine connection, authentic relationships, and true peace of mind. This is how you rise above the noise. Point 6. Stop constantly comparing yourself to others. Here's a truth that will set you free if you truly embrace it. You need to avoid constantly comparing yourself to other people. Stop measuring your journey against someone else's highlight reel. Each person walking this earth has their own unique path, their own timeline, their own set of achievements and successes that should be valued independently, without any reference to what others have accomplished. Let me be absolutely clear about something. The destructive habit of comparing your life to others' lives can devastate your emotional well-being and completely derail your personal growth. This isn't just a minor issue. This is one of the most damaging patterns you can engage in. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you're essentially setting yourself up for perpetual dissatisfaction. Why? Because comparison lowers your self-esteem dramatically. You fall into the insidious trap of unfavorable comparison, where you focus exclusively on what you perceive you lack, on what you think you should have, on where you believe you're falling short, instead of recognizing your own incredible strengths, acknowledging your unique accomplishments, and celebrating how far you've actually come. Think about what happens when you engage in constant comparison. You lose sight completely of your own goals and desires. You get distracted, pulled away from what truly matters to you, and you start focusing instead on what you think you should have or should achieve based entirely on others' standards, not your own. This prevents you, actively blocks you from moving forward on your own journey and achieving your individual goals. It's like trying to run a race while constantly looking sideways at the other runners instead of keeping your eyes on your own lane. Here's what happens when you eliminate comparison from your life. You can finally cultivate genuine gratitude for your own circumstances exactly as they are. You can celebrate your own progress, your own growth, no matter how small it might seem when compared to someone else's giant leaps. But here's the thing, those giant leaps you see, they're often years in the making. You're seeing someone's chapter 20 while you're still on chapter 3 of your own story. Remember this fundamental truth. Each person has their own completely unique journey and individual circumstances. Comparing yourself to others is neither fair nor healthy. It's not fair because you don't know their full story. You don't know what advantages they started with. You don't know what sacrifices they made. You don't know what failures they endured before that success you're envying. And it's not healthy because it breeds resentment, jealousy, and dissatisfaction with your own life. Each of us possesses different strengths. Each of us faces different challenges. Each of us walks completely different life paths. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, which is ultimately a waste of precious mental energy, it is infinitely more productive to focus entirely on our own learning, our own development, our own evolution. Ask yourself this simple question every single day. Am I better than I was yesterday? That's the only comparison that matters. You versus you. Today's version versus yesterday's version. This month's progress versus last month's. When you shift your focus from comparing yourself to others to comparing yourself to your past self, everything changes. You stop feeling inadequate. You start feeling motivated. You stop feeling jealous. You start feeling inspired. This is the path that intelligent people have discovered. They measure themselves only against their own potential, their own progress, their own journey. Point 7. To practice conscious use of social media. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine for just a moment that your life is a beautifully written book, filled with fascinating stories, profound learnings, unexpected adventures, moments of triumph, and periods of growth. This is your book, your story, your narrative. Now think of social media as an enormous digital library where millions, no billions of other stories are being shared every single second of every single day. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? The ability to glimpse into countless other lives, to see how others are living, achieving, experiencing. But here lies a subtle yet profound danger: constant comparison. As we scroll and swipe through the glossy, perfectly curated pages of these digital stories, we often find ourselves, whether consciously or unconsciously, comparing our most challenging chapters, our behind-the-scenes moments, our unfiltered reality, with the carefully selected highlight moments of others. This comparison, and let me be clear, is almost always unfair and completely unrealistic. Why? Because you're comparing your full reality with someone else's edited highlights. You're comparing your chapter 1 with their chapter 20. You're comparing your worst day with their best moment. Can you see how destructive this becomes? This unfair comparison leads us into a vicious cycle of dissatisfaction, envy, inadequacy, and perpetual discontent. We start believing that everyone else has it figured out. Everyone else is happier. Everyone else is more successful. Everyone else has a better life. But it's an illusion, a carefully crafted digital illusion. With this understanding in mind, it becomes absolutely essential to learn how to limit our consumption of these digital stories. Imagine making a conscious decision to visit this digital library with crystal clear purpose and intention. You enter deliberately. You look for exactly what you need, whether that's genuine connection, authentic inspiration, or useful information. Then you leave, closing the app, and returning to the reality of your own book, the book of your life, the story you're actively writing with your choices and actions. But how do you do this in practice? How do you break free from the addictive pull of endless scrolling? Start by defining specific times of the day when you'll check your social media accounts. Instead of mindlessly grabbing your phone every few minutes, instead of getting lost in the infinite scroll at every idle moment, set boundaries. Maybe you check social media during breakfast. Maybe during a break at work. Maybe at the end of the day before bed. But you create a structure, a framework that prevents social media from dominating your time, your thoughts, your mental energy, and ultimately your life. Another incredibly effective strategy is to question the intention behind each online interaction. Before you open that app, pause and ask yourself this crucial question. Am I seeking something truly constructive here? Or am I just mindlessly killing time? Am I looking for real connection? Or am I seeking digital distraction from something uncomfortable I should be facing? This simple reflection, this moment of self-awareness, can help you differentiate between productive use of social media and aimless, passive, ultimately unfulfilling consumption. Moreover, and this is critical, you must recognize the warning signs that social media is negatively impacting your mood, your self-esteem, or your mental health. If you consistently find yourself feeling worse after scrolling, if you notice feelings of inadequacy creeping in, if you feel depressed, anxious, or unsettled after using these platforms, then it might be time, it definitely is time, to take a deliberate break. Use that reclaimed time to reconnect with activities that bring you genuine joy and deep satisfaction in the real world, not the digital one. Read that book you've been meaning to. Engage in a hobby that lights you up. Have a face-to-face conversation with someone you care about. Go for a walk in nature and actually notice the beauty around you, instead of photographing it for strangers to validate. By adopting these conscious practices, you don't just protect your mental health, you actively reclaim it. You rediscover the beauty, the richness, the depth of your own story without the constant, exhausting need to compare it with others' stories. Remember always this essential truth. Each of us has a unique path to walk, a path filled with highs and lows, triumphs and challenges, victories and defeats. And that's exactly what makes each story, including yours, so incredibly valuable and profoundly unique. As we move on from this topic, I invite you to reflect seriously on how you can start writing the next chapter of your story today, with significantly less influence from the digital world and dramatically more focus on what truly matters in your actual life. Let's embark on this journey of self-discovery and authentic growth together. Take charge of your life with the timeless wisdom of history's greatest philosophers. If you're serious about developing unshakable resilience, genuine well-being, and lasting prosperity, then mastering your relationship with social media and external validation is absolutely essential. Turn challenges into triumphs, transform stress into strength, convert uncertainty into clarity. Now let's continue to our 8th point. Point 8. Eliminate the pursuit of external approval. We live in a world, a society, an entire culture, where far too often a person's worth, their value, their very identity seems to be inextricably tied to others' perceptions, opinions, and judgments. But today, right now, in this moment, I invite you to explore something revolutionary. The profound liberation that comes from completely breaking free from this incessant, exhausting, ultimately futile search for approval from others. Imagine yourself for a moment standing on a stage under a bright spotlight. The lights are hot. All around you, surrounding you on every side, is a crowd of expectant faces. Each person in that crowd has an opinion, a judgment, and expectation about how you should act, how you should speak, how you should think, how you should be. Can you feel how suffocating that is? Can you sense the weight of all those expectations pressing down on you? Now visualize something completely different. Imagine yourself stepping off that stage, walking away from that spotlight, leaving behind that crowd of judging faces, and entering instead a peaceful, serene, quiet space. A place where the only opinion that truly matters, the only voice you need to listen to, the only approval you need to seek, is your own. This metaphor, this powerful image, illustrates the critical importance of recognizing and deeply valuing your own inner voice above all the external noise, all the unsolicited opinions, all the judgment and criticism from others. When we base our actions, our decisions, our entire lives on the quest for external approval, we drift away further and further from who we truly are and what we genuinely desire. It's like constantly trying to wear an outfit that doesn't fit. That's uncomfortable. That's not your style. Just to please other people who frankly aren't even paying that much attention to you anyway. Think about the times in your life when you felt most fulfilled, most content, most at peace, most yourself. They were probably moments when you were completely aligned with your own values and beliefs, regardless of, maybe even in spite of, what others thought or expected. This alignment, this congruence between your actions and your values, is the very essence of living authentically. But how do we practice this in our daily lives? How do we break free from the approval addiction that society has conditioned into us? It starts with small steps. For instance, the very next time you're about to make a decision, any decision, big or small, pause and ask yourself this crucial question. Am I doing this because I truly, deeply want to? Or am I doing this because it's what others expect of me? Am I acting from my authentic self, or am I performing for an audience? Learn to trust, truly trust, your intuition. Learn to recognize your own desires and needs, not what you think you should desire or need. Another profoundly powerful practice is strengthening, building up your self-esteem from the inside out. Value your unique qualities. Celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they might seem. Learn from your mistakes instead of beating yourself up about them. Remember always that self-acceptance is an ongoing process, not a destination. It's a daily practice, and every small victory, every moment you choose yourself over others' opinions, counts. And finally, this is crucial, cultivate relationships that genuinely support and encourage you to be your best, most authentic self. Surround yourself deliberately and intentionally with people who respect your individuality, who celebrate your uniqueness, who encourage you to express your true essence, rather than trying to mold you into what they think you should be. By freeing ourselves consciously and completely from the need for external approval, we open the doors, we create space for a more authentic and deeply rewarding path through life. It's a path that allows us to be the true protagonists of our own lives, writing our own stories with the ink of authenticity, courage, and self-respect. And with that, we conclude this 8th point, hoping it serves as a powerful invitation to reflect deeply on how you can live a more authentic life, a life true to yourself, far away from the shadows of others' approval, opinions, and expectations. This is how you reclaim your power. This is how you find your peace. Point 9. Handle your relationships with wisdom and discretion. The way we handle our relationships, whether in deep friendship or passionate romance, reveals everything about our character, our maturity, and our wisdom. Relationships, when you think about it, are like mirrors. They reflect various facets of our lives. They bring us experiences, lessons, joys, and challenges that fundamentally shape who we are and who we become. But there's a delicate line here, a sacred boundary that must never be crossed. The line of privacy and discretion. Think of any relationship you've ever had, romantic or otherwise, as a secret garden, a private sanctuary. This is a place where you carefully nurture emotions, dreams, vulnerabilities, and special moments that belong to you and one other person. This garden is sacred. It's not public property. It's not a tourist attraction. It's a space that deserves profound respect and meticulous care. When a relationship ends, and they do end sometimes, whether it's a friendship that ran its course or a romance that couldn't survive, it's completely natural to feel overwhelming pain, deep confusion, and an intense need to process what happened. Your emotions are valid. Your hurt is real. However, and this is crucial, it's absolutely essential to remember that the intimate details of this garden, this shared story you created together, belong only to you and the other person involved, no one else. When you choose consciously and deliberately not to divulge intimate details, not to share the reasons for the breakup, not to air dirty laundry publicly, you're doing something powerful. You're not only preserving the dignity of both parties, you're also protecting your own heart, your own integrity, your own peace of mind. Sharing this sensitive information with others, broadcasting your relationship problems to friends, family, or worse, social media, opens dangerous doors. Doors to misunderstandings, doors to unfair judgments, doors to toxic gossip that spreads like wildfire. This doesn't contribute in any way to healing. Rather, it prolongs the pain, amplifies the drama, and creates a vicious cycle of negativity that traps you in the past. So how can we deal with the end of a relationship in a healthy, mature, constructive way? First, it's absolutely crucial to give yourself the gift of time and space to heal properly. Don't rush the healing process. Don't pretend you're fine when you're not. Allow yourself to feel the full spectrum of emotions, but, and this is the key, do so introspectively. Do so privately. Do so with dignity. If necessary, and there's no shame in this whatsoever, seek the support of a qualified mental health professional. Someone who can provide objective guidance, proven strategies, and compassionate support without judgment or gossip. Second, cultivate the powerful habit of personal reflection. Instead of seeking external validation or temporary comfort from friends who will just tell you what you want to hear, turn inward. Ask yourself these profound questions. What have I learned from this relationship? What patterns did I see? What role did I play in what happened? How can I use these lessons, however painful, to grow into a better version of myself? Every relationship, even those that end badly, even those that break your heart, brings valuable lessons if you're willing to see them. Finally, remember always that maintaining discretion and privacy about your relationships is a powerful sign of maturity and respect. Not just respect for the other person, though that matters, but respect for yourself, your values, your character. As you close a chapter in your life, do so with grace, with dignity, knowing deeply that each experience, even the painful ones, prepares you for what's to come. And with that, we complete this 9th point, hoping it sheds valuable light and perspective on how to face the end of relationships with wisdom, respect, and dignity, maintaining the privacy that you and the other person truly deserve. Point 10. Let go of unrealistic expectations. This 10th point is an invitation, a profound invitation to an internal journey, a journey where we'll explore together how our expectations, the stories we tell ourselves about how things should be, can shape and sometimes completely distort our perception of reality. Let's start with a powerful metaphor that will help clarify this. Imagine your life as a grand adventure across a vast, unpredictable ocean. You're the captain of your ship. Each expectation you carry is like a sail on your boat, helping to propel you towards your dreams, your goals, your desired destination. However, and here's where things get interesting, when these sails become too large, when our expectations grow unrealistic, disconnected from reality, they don't help us. They actually steer us completely off course. They lead us into turbulent waters of profound disappointment and chronic dissatisfaction. Unrealistic expectations are like maps promising treasures that simply don't exist. They make us chase ideals of impossible perfection in ourselves, in others, and in every situation we experience. But here's the question we should all be asking. Are these ideals truly ours? Did we consciously choose them? Or have they been subtly imposed, programmed into us, by external influences like society's standards, cultural conditioning, media portrayals of perfect lives, or social media's carefully curated highlight reels? To begin the liberating process of detaching from these unrealistic expectations, we first need to recognize them. We need to see them clearly for what they are. This requires brutal honesty and deep introspection. Ask yourself these critical questions. Do these expectations lift me up and inspire me? Or do they weigh me down and crush me with their impossibility? Do they reflect who I truly am and what I genuinely value? Or do they represent someone else's definition of success, happiness, or worth? The next essential step in this process is practicing radical acceptance. Acceptance of who you are right now, not who you think you should be. Acceptance of where you are in your unique journey, not where society says you should be by now. Acceptance of the circumstances you genuinely cannot control, no matter how hard you try. Now let me be clear. This doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. This doesn't mean settling for mediocrity. This doesn't mean abandoning your ambitions. Rather, it means recognizing and deeply appreciating the process of getting there, with all its imperfections, setbacks, and challenges. Furthermore, it's absolutely crucial to learn the skill of setting realistic and achievable goals. Goals that resonate with your true essence, your authentic self, not with an idealized image of success borrowed from someone else's life. This also involves, and this is important, celebrating the small victories along the way. Every step forward, no matter how tiny it might seem, is valuable progress. Every lesson learned, every obstacle overcome, every small improvement deserves recognition and celebration. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, remember this timeless truth. The journey itself is as important, if not more important, than the destination. By letting go of unrealistic expectations, by releasing the need for everything to be perfect, you allow life to flow more naturally, more peacefully, more beautifully. You open up precious space for unexpected surprises, for spontaneous joys, for serendipitous moments that could never have been planned, controlled, or predicted. And with that, we conclude this 10th point, hoping deeply that it inspires you to navigate life with sails properly adjusted to reality, appreciating fully the breathtaking beauty of the journey, with all its twists and turns, ups and downs, and magnificent discoveries. Point 11. Refuse to participate in gossip and negativity. We're now entering a territory, a realm of behavior that's often completely overlooked in our daily interactions. Yet it has a profound, significant impact on our well-being and the quality of relationships we cultivate throughout our lives. I'm talking about participation in gossip and the deliberate spread of negativity. In this final point, we'll explore deeply how consciously choosing, to distance ourselves completely from these toxic behaviors can not only dramatically improve our mental state, but also enrich immeasurably the quality of our relationships and our entire life experience. Here's a metaphor that makes this crystal clear. Imagine every word you speak, every sentence you utter, every story you share, as a seed you're planting in the garden of your life and the lives of everyone around you. When we choose, deliberately and intentionally, words of support, encouragement, inspiration, and genuine positivity, we plant seeds of kindness, compassion, and understanding. These seeds grow into beautiful flowers. Conversely, when we engage in gossiping, negative talk, criticism, and spreading rumors or harsh judgments, we're essentially planting weeds. Weeds of misunderstanding, weeds of distrust, weeds of conflict, weeds of toxicity, and these weeds choke out the good, suffocate the positive, and poison the entire garden. Participating in gossip may seem, on the surface, harmless. It might even feel like a form of social connection, a way to bond with others. But in reality, it's a dangerous two-way street that inevitably leads to disrespect, to devaluing others, and ultimately, to devaluing yourself. When you speak poorly of others, you're actually revealing your own character, not theirs. Moreover, by constantly focusing on negativity, by dwelling on what's wrong, what's bad, who did what, we feed a destructive mindset. A mindset that obscures, that completely blocks our ability to see the good, the beautiful, the positive that exists all around us. So how can we veer off this toxic road and choose instead a more positive, more constructive, more life-affirming path? First, it's critically important to be acutely aware of the conversations we participate in. When a dialogue begins to veer, begins to shift into gossip territory, or unnecessary criticism of someone who isn't present, make a conscious choice. Try gently but firmly changing the subject. Or highlight something positive about the person or situation in question. Redirect the conversation towards something constructive. Additionally, practice genuine empathy. Before speaking or sharing something about someone, before engaging in that gossip, ask yourself this simple but powerful question: would I want this to be said about me? How would I feel if someone was saying this about me behind my back? This simple question can be an incredibly powerful guide to keeping our conversations respectful, constructive, and aligned with our values. Another important step in this process is to cultivate deliberately a positive environment around you. Surround yourself, intentionally and strategically, with people who also value positivity, authenticity, and kindness in their interactions. Together, you can create a culture, a community of mutual respect, genuine support, and uplifting energy. Lastly, and this might be the most important point, remember that change always starts with you. It doesn't start with other people changing. It starts with your choice. By choosing right now, today, not to participate in gossip, not to spread negativity, not to tear others down, you're not only protecting your own integrity, your own character, your own peace of mind, you're also setting a powerful example for everyone around you. You're showing what's possible. You're demonstrating a better way. By adopting these 11 principles in our lives, by eliminating these toxic patterns quietly and strategically, we can cultivate a more positive, more empathetic, and more resilient mindset. We contribute to our own genuine personal growth and to creating more meaningful, more authentic, more fulfilling interpersonal relationships. This is how smart people live. This is how they find peace, purpose, and profound satisfaction. By eliminating quietly, strategically, wisely, these 11 things from their lives, we've reached the end of this transformative journey together. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. 11 powerful elements that smart people quietly eliminate from their lives. 11 patterns that, when removed, create space for peace, growth, and authentic living. We talked about stopping the need to explain yourself to those who've hurt you. We explored eliminating unnecessary goals that no longer serve your path. We discussed the importance of keeping relationship details private. We examined controlling your voice and emotions during tension. We emphasized stopping judgment and gossip about others. We highlighted the danger of constantly comparing yourself to others. We dove deep into conscious use of social media. We explored breaking free from the pursuit of external approval. We discussed handling relationships with wisdom. We examined letting go of unrealistic expectations. And finally, we talked about refusing to participate in gossip and negativity. 11 things, 11 transformations, 11 steps toward a life of greater peace, authenticity, and fulfillment. The question now is simple. What will you do with this knowledge? Knowledge without action is just information. But knowledge plus action? That's transformation. That's power. That's how you actually change your life. I encourage you right now to choose just one of these 11 points. Just one. The one that resonated most deeply with you. The one that made you think, yes, that's exactly what I need to work on. And start there. Start today. Start quietly. Remember, smart people don't announce their transformations. They simply make them. Quietly, strategically, consistently. If this video provided value, if these insights resonated with you, if you're serious about implementing these principles in your life, then please subscribe to this channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss new content that can help you on your journey of personal growth and self-mastery. Leave a like on this video to support our mission of spreading wisdom and practical philosophy to more people who need it. And most importantly, leave a comment below. Tell me which of these 11 points resonated most with you. Tell me which one you're committing to eliminate starting today. Your comment not only helps this content reach more people, but it also creates accountability for your own transformation. I've prepared 2 more videos that will appear on your screen right now. Videos that will continue this journey of wisdom, growth, and self-discovery. Thank you for investing this time in yourself. Thank you for your commitment to growth. Thank you for being here. Now go out there and quietly eliminate what no longer serves you. Create space for what matters. Live with intention. Live with wisdom. Live authentically. Your journey of transformation starts now. Stay strong. Stay wise. Stay authentic.